Hello, sports fans. This is the Guru Talking Sports podcast. Now, here's your host, the Guru of Sports. Guru Talking Sports. Guru Talking Sports. Guru Talking Sports, y'all. Guru Talking Sports, y'all. Guru Talking Sports, y'all. Hello, sports fans, and welcome. Welcome to the Guru Talking Sports podcast. I am your host, the Guru of Sports. First of all, I want to say thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Guru of Sports Talking Sports podcast. I am your host. Like I mentioned before, I'm the Guru of Sports. Now, first off, I want to say thank you to my two guests from last week, Mr. Jeff Duarte, the CEO and Chief Editor of Cali Sports News. I want to thank him for coming on. And also I want to thank Emily Redenbach for her participation as well. It was a great podcast last week. And I want to say thank you to both of them. And like I said, we'll be catching up with them a little bit later on the developments of hockey. And I also wanted to mention that I do have another hockey guest coming up. And I do have another big surprise for you guys, but I'm not going to jinx it. That's coming next week. Maybe next week I might have two shows or two podcasts where there'll be guests. And I won't be talking too much about the little things. But then again, I do have to mention that the NFL draft is coming up. So I'm definitely going to be talking about that probably next weekend on the podcast to let you guys know how did every team do on the rundown. Also, I'm going to mention that I'm going to talk about the NFL draft a little bit later in the podcast to let you guys know where I stand and where I think is going to be happening in the NFL podcast. Now, before I get to opening arguments, I just want to say I hope everyone out there is staying safe and protecting ourselves from this coronavirus thing. And hopefully we can get back to normal pretty soon. Also wanted to mention that this podcast now is about 45 minutes long. I'm not going to sit up here and bore you with some regurgitated takes or anything that I feel as though that you might have heard before. If you heard it before, I'm going to put a different spin on it. I'm going to basically give you my perspective of what's going on and the things that are happening inside sports. Now, before I go on, I want to say this is coming to you live from the Black Goat 39 studio. Black Goat Entertainment is my little baby that I created. And we got sports, we got all kinds of stuff that we do. They actually, Black Goat Entertainment takes care of the Guru of Sports show on YouTube, where you can follow me and find me there. Also, you can find me, I'm going to give you out my socials right now, or social medias right now. You can follow me on Twitter at BlackGoat39, which is my partner, Goaty. He's in the background just sitting there, just looking at me like crazy. I'm at Goat39 on Twitter. Facebook, you can find me at Guru's Daily Shorts on Facebook. Like I mentioned, Guru of Sports show on YouTube. Find me there, watch the show, subscribe, follow, like, comment, do all that stuff as well. IG, I'm at the Guru OS39, IG, Instagram, and Gmail. You can actually Gmail me at gurusdailyshorts@gmail.com. And my phone number, I don't give out my phone number, only give it out to my special guests, which they call me in and we talk about different things. Okay, now let's get to our opening arguments. Bang the gavel. Okay, open arguments. Now, if you're not familiar with the day, believe me, some of us aren't because of the pandemic and the quarantine situations that we got going on. Today is April 19th, 2020. Now, that means that we still got a couple more days. Like I said, the draft is on the 23rd. And like I said, I will have a show probably on the couple days after that. We'll talk about the NFL draft. Also, I wanted to mention that on the 15th, which was last Wednesday, was supposedly been Jackie Robinson Day in Major League Baseball. Now, I want to get a little bit into Jackie Robinson and explain to you what he means to me and to some of the people that I know. Now, when I was growing up, I used to sit on the porch and listen to ball games with my grandpop and my dad, and we used to sit around talking about baseball and how great the game was. And like I said, back in the late 60s, early 70s, basically those things were very important. Baseball lost a lot of their luster, but, you know, there was a guy that came about back in 1947, and if you're counting, that's about 73 years ago. His name was Jackie Robinson. My grandfather loved him. He thought that he was the greatest player that he ever seen, black or white. Now, it's not a color thing with me. I mean, hey, there's been some great ball players. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. Believe me, I believe that every ball player that plays in the major leagues is great. Everybody is great. Believe me, I still love Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron. I love, name it, Joe DiMaggio, all these guys. Ted Williams. Ted Williams was one of my favorite players. Cal Ripken, Tony Gwynn. But we all know that Jackie Robinson paved the way for African-American ball players to play in the major leagues. And believe me, there was some very, very good players that played in the Negro leagues as well. But like I said, Jackie Robinson paved the way. And when he came in, Larry Doby came in, and then there was a slew of all great ball players from the Negro leagues coming into the major leagues. Now, Josh Gibson, you can remember him, Satchel Paige, Judy Johnson. He was a local favorite back in Wilmington, Delaware. He was very, very well known back here. You name it, there's some great ball players. Joe Black. I mean, there was some tremendous ball players that came after Jackie Robinson. But as we all know, that the number 42 is very, very special. And everybody in the major leagues wears the number for that reason. Because he was a pioneer and he paved the way for a lot of players, his memory will always be remembered in my household, and everybody that I know of loves Jackie Robinson. So we want to salute Jackie Robinson from Wednesday, because I didn't do the podcast anytime soon. Wednesday was Jackie Robinson Day in Major League Baseball. Now I want to say thank you to Jackie and his memory, and thank you for bringing great ball players into the fold of major leagues. Now, let's go to something that was more recent. A couple days ago, I sat here and I watched the WNBA draft. And I thought it was pretty good. And it was a virtual draft. This is the first time I ever seen a virtual draft. And believe me, many of you probably haven't seen the virtual draft, which is, going to be coming up pretty soon. Like I said, on Thursday of this week, you'll see the NFL holding their draft virtually as well. Now, we got to give big props to the commissioner She did a great job in introducing everybody. The only thing that I kind of found it was a little bit difficult was the technical delays. But then again, technology is still trying to get, we're trying to get through this mess with this COVID-19 stuff. But then again, she did a very, very good job. And like I said, there were some delays where she would talk and then there would be like maybe a 30-second or 50-second delay. And then the players would answer the question. Now, Sabrina Ionescu, she was the first pick of the New York Liberty. And she was something. She is probably like the Magic Johnson or the Michael Jordan of the league. She's going to be one of those players like Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan. She is really, really good. 26 triple doubles in her career. Now that's more than any basketball player in NCAA history has ever played or made. That was great. I mean, she was great. 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 1,000 assists. That has never been done by any basketball player, man or woman, in the NCAA. We got to give it up for her. The Oregon program for women's college basketball has come a very, very long way. They basically had the second pick as well. I can't think of her name right now, and I'm sorry, it slips my mind right now. But that young lady from Oregon, there was a second young lady picked from Oregon. She did pretty good as well. And like I said, excuse me for not remembering her name. I just saw it a second ago on the TV, but believe me, Guru, mine slips a little bit sometimes, but that's one of the things that I have to deal with. Now, we got to talk about the NBA and the WNBA as well, because they're both talking about maybe playing double headers in arenas when maybe if the time comes back, they might be doing the same thing. They might be playing double headers. You might see the WNBA first, and then you might see the NBA game second, a little bit second. Now, Adam Silver hasn't made any definite say-so of when the season will resume or if the season will be canceled. He hasn't made that decision yet. But we're still hoping and praying that the NBA can come back. And like I said, the WNBA hasn't started their league yet. They usually start in the summertime. So it could be a possibility that you might see some WNBA first and then maybe some NBA second on the same ticket. I think there's only 5 teams in the WNBA that shares an arena with the NBA teams. I know the New York Liberty is one. They share with the Brooklyn Nets. And like I said, we might see double headers like that, maybe. But who knows? All right, now I'm going to talk a little bit about the NFL draft. NFL draft is coming up here pretty soon. And we know Cincinnati has the first pick. And we know that Joe Burrow is going to be the first pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. But, like I said, Joe Burrow, he's kind of iffy on that. So, let's say if Joe Burrow did go to Cincinnati, do you think he'll be a bust, or you think he'll be, probably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? You never know. Joe, just take the chance, go to Cincinnati, resurrect that team, and please do the best you can. Believe me, Cincinnati needs someone to step in and resurrect that franchise. They have been horrible for a long time. And believe me, Joe Burrow will sell tickets and put butts in the seats and definitely make that team relevant once again. Now, the second pick will probably be my man Chase Young from Ohio State. And Chase is going to be a beast. Now, Washington, I don't know if they're going to think about taking a quarterback or Chase Young. I would take Chase Young. He's a sure thing. Develop Haskins and make him your franchise quarterback. Now, there's been talk about Ron Rivera don't want him, Haskins, as his quarterback. But I'm saying, hey, look, take the chance on Haskins. I like Haskins. I think he's going to be great. So put a little bit of money into him and put your money where your mouth is and do the right thing. Take Chase Young and basically don't worry about anything else. All right, now a little bit of stuff on the NFL draft. Now, like I said, I'm not going to talk a whole lot. Give me a few more minutes to talk a few little things. But I just wanted to mention this. I know there's been like a lot of deaths in sports lately. So many I can't remember. But then again, I remember Al Kaline from Baltimore. He played with Detroit Tigers. He passed away. Tom Dempsey, he passed away. There was a young man that played for the Edmonton Oilers, Kobe Cove. He died. I'm sorry, but this COVID-19 stuff has been getting to everybody. But like I said, for everyone out there, please be safe. Please be safe and do what you can to protect yourself. Wash your hands. Practice social distancing. And please just go out there and wear a face mask, something over your face to keep the germs and keep the, maybe somebody might be coughing out there and, have them cough into their arm. But then again, please stay safe out there. I can't emphasize that enough. Well, like I said, I don't have too much to talk about today, but I'm going to be back next week. And like I said, I'm going to give you guys a really good podcast because, like I said, I got some things that I'm working on. I don't want to jinx them, but like I said, maybe next week we'll have a couple interviews. I'm definitely going to talk more about the NFL draft. And, I forgot to mention that, now, Jacksonville. I like Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a really, really good team. But now they're talking about maybe Leonard Fournette. When I heard this, I was just really, really upset. Leonard Fournette now is a talk of trade talks. Now, for some teams that need a running back, this is a good thing. But then again, if Jacksonville do trade, they're hoping to trade up so they could probably go for something else. But then again, why would you trade Leonard Fournette? He's probably like your bread and butter. He's the best thing you have on that team, basically. Now, I know Jacksonville sits at 9 in the NFL draft, but if they can get Jared Jeudy or one of these top wide receivers, they should be pretty good. Now, I know that Gardner Minshew might be the answer, but then again, I don't know. David Caldwell, you got to figure out what you're going to do with this guy. Are you going to keep him? I mean, maybe if Tua drops down to 9, are you going to pick him up? What are you going to do? I don't know. But I tell you one thing. We got to figure out, Jacksonville, you got to figure out if you're going to be a player or you're going to be a chump. Plain and simple. That's all I got to say. You're going to be a player. You're going to do what you can. But then again, some people are telling me that Jacksonville is rebuilding, and which is not a good thing. Just remember a couple of years ago, they were only a quarter away from the Super Bowl. But then again, they played New England. They had Tom Brady, and the rest was history. But anyway, let me get out of here. But I want to tell you guys, I thank you for listening to this podcast. First of all, I got some people I want to thank, and I want to give big props to. Big props to my man Jeff Duarte from Cali Sports News. He's always on time. And believe me, he's great dude to work for as well. My man Damian Adams. You got to listen to his podcast. You got to check out his podcast. It's called The Real Deal with Damian Adams, and I really, really enjoy his work. Really enjoy his work. Now, my three wise men, my man Jeff Shepard from Hip Hop BC, Before Corporate. I like his stuff. I watch his stuff all the time, and I recommend you guys check it out as well. My man Happy, the original pioneer great MC, really, really good guy. And like I said, really, really, really good stuff from him. And my man Cool Kyle Starchild, the original Starchild, probably one of the best rapping MCs of all time. But like I said, these guys are my three wise men, and I really, really look to them for wisdom and basically their guidance. They are great. All three of them are great, as well as Jeff and Damien as well. Also want to mention my friend Amy Redenbach. She is also one of the best hockey writers in America. Check her out at Aussie Amy on Twitter as well. Now, you can pick up this podcast on Spreaker, Spotify, Podomatics, iHeart, Podchasers, Pod Addicts, Google, Deezer, Castbox, and iTunes. Now, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and talk to you and just bore you with boring stuff. I want to make it short and quick. And like I said, next week I'll be back to give you guys some more insights and more thoughts of what I'm thinking inside the guru's head and what the guru has to talk about. I appreciate you listening to this podcast. Pick it up anywhere. And like I said, enjoy the podcast. Take care of yourself, and I will see you real soon. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe. Play it. It's only about 20, 25 minutes long. Take care of yourself. I will see you next week. The Guru will see you real soon. Later.